If there's one thing that humans have always been bad at, it's understanding large scales. For instance, think about what some of the largest diseases today are. Immediately, you might think of something like cancer, even though it only affects about 17 million people per year. That number may seem huge, but it's actually microscopic in comparison to the 750 million people that are infected by diseases like malaria and dengue every single year. Yet, these diseases receive almost no attention in comparison to something like cancer. That's why we at Prohibio Health are working to overcome this human limitation using technologies like AI, which help us simulate insect breeding and migration so that we can predict and prevent the next major outbreak. Outbreaks like the Ebola and Zika viruses, which completely took the world by surprise in just the past decade. With the Ebola virus, it re-emerged after decades, and with Zika, it was transmitted over continents from Africa to South America. In both cases, we were completely taken by surprise, and with Zika especially, we didn't understand how such a simple mosquito could create such a drastic change with its migration. And that is the fundamental factor that causes these big diseases. Just simple insects like mosquitoes, which can create big damages for up to 500 million people each year, just with malaria alone. And sadly, almost half of these people affected live in just 5 countries around the world, which are some of the most underdeveloped nations in the world. Yet, we still do not understand how these mosquito populations change, which is mainly due to the complex factors of insect populations. For instance, you'd have to consider things like the environment, like temperature, humidity, and especially water concentrations. Then, you could analyze how humans impact mosquito populations and other insects in terms of urban centers. Finally, you could look at how we're speeding up their movements through things like commercial transportation in the tourism industry, or even livestock transportation in the agriculture industry. Given all these complex factors, you can imagine how hard it would be for a developing nation that has virtually little to no resources to address these issues, which is where our solution comes in. Our AI model is able to predict and prevent outbreaks by analyzing mosquito populations and those of other insects to look at breeding and migration. This is possible due to IoT sensors sending data to these models, and with these predictions we can identify the most at-risk areas for future disease outbreaks. This information is then relayed to our clients, who can effectively use their resources to try and address this. All of this is inherently advantageous because we are not limited to any specific insect, location, or disease. In fact, we have generalizable predictions that can be used around the world by a huge variety of clients. For instance, they can be used by the government to analyze whether their projects are effective at actually stopping disease outbreaks. Similarly, charities can use our technology to ensure that they're actually getting the aid to the people that need it the most. And finally, we can also get it for future projects, like housing and tourism developments, who might want to ensure that their land isn't prone to future outbreaks or future insect migration. All of this broad usability is powered by our backend, which is based on the cloud platform. Specifically, we use the Microsoft Azure cloud to train our AI algorithms with existing data. After this, we integrate IoT sensors to send real-time data to these algorithms so that they can make specific predictions for individual clients. Finally, using these predictions, our clients can go on and address the risk of major disease outbreaks. All of this is very convenient for scalability because on the cloud, we don't have to worry about hardware constraints. We can simply buy more data storage or more processing as we grow our services, and we don't have to worry about connecting IoT sensors back to our model. Because of this scalability, we have a lot of control for our market entry plan in order to make it quick but still mitigate risk. Specifically, we first use research funding and grants to develop our neural networks for our AI and train them. After this proof of concept, we go on to phase 2, where we address specifically clients with existing data on these issues. After this, we're able to have validity without wasting too much money on IoT infrastructure, and then with this capital, we can finally offer our services to the most at-risk areas, which are likely not going to have existing IoT systems for data. With this, we're always able to have working capital to fund increased capabilities for our projects, and we're able to offer our services to more and more clients on each step. With this, we have long-term economic incentives for both ourselves and our clients. For our clients, they're able to optimize how they spend their resources so that they can be more efficient in addressing this problem. And due to this, they have a lower risk of having to deal with a major disease outbreak, which would cost huge amounts of money to address. For us, we have long-term security because our main costs are upfront. We have to train our AI models, and we have to implement the IoT infrastructure. But after this, we can provide predictions and services to our clients for extended periods of time, making sure we retain our clients and our revenue. Because of this, we have a good, viable economic system, but we still need to address our competition. Right now, we don't have any direct competition, but we do have two main groups to keep in mind when we scale up our operations. First, commercial companies that are also using AI, but for different goals. For example, Google's project Wolbachia, it uses AI computer vision to analyze breeding for mosquitoes in artificial environments. However, they're limited to just mosquito species instead of insects in general. They're only able to do this in artificial settings instead of in the wild, and they're not able to generalize the results to a variety of other applications. Then we also have researchers who are doing the same thing as us, but they're not using AI. This limits them in how specific they can be, as they can only provide results for one insect, disease, location, which is not commercializable. Because of this competitive edge, we have a huge opportunity right now. We have the potential to maximize the efforts of so many entities working on this problem right now. We have the potential to be able to radically change the lives of hundreds of millions who cannot get the aid they need right now. But with this potential, we also need huge motivation and huge talent in order to maximize how we do this. That's why we're offering our proposition to you and asking you to give your drive and your dedication to our project so that we can take it to where it needs to be. And with this, we invite you to join us in our mission of overcoming the human limitation and truly reaching unprecedented scales. Thank you.